What's up, brothers and sisters? It's your brother G World 7_D. Now, I have this book called Ancient African Metallurgy, the Socio-Cultural Context, but I'm going to try to tie it in to America. And what I mean by that is that I told you before that brothers and sisters were smelting iron all over the planet. Alright, but I'm going to go to page 150. Now, this says African, but I'm going to pull it into America. Alright, I'm going to go to page 150. I'm not going to read too much out of this. I'm going to see if I can get a focus. Okay, here, right here. African iron workers produce key tools for farming and various types of hoes, axes, and knives, as well as machetes, sticklers, and metal-ending diggings, and walking sticks for hunting and warfare, including cavalry paraphernalia, arrow and spearheads, traps, knives, daggers, lances, swords, archers, finger guards, chainmail, bits, stirrups, spurs, portions of saddles, and eventually gunshot and guns. For fishing, harpoons and fishhooks. For the smelting and smithing of both copper and iron, picks, pokers, hammers, adze, hammer chisels, and thongs. For wood carving, boat making, leather working, weaving. Well, I kind of lost myself, I'm sorry. Weaving, and I think it says, well, I kind of lost myself, my bad. For eventually gunshot, smiting, both copper and iron. For wood carving, boat making, punches, leather working, weaving, and plotting, adzes, punches, boring, and hollowing tools, chisels, knives, scrapers, pulleys, and blackening tools. Serafi, palm, tapping, adzes, and borers. For domestic uses, door locks, fire starters, needles, extracting pliers, knives, razors, tweezers, spoons, and latties. For slaves, neck chains, chains, and leg irons. For ornamentation, bracelets. Bracelets, ankles, necklets, hairpins, rings, earrings, and beads. For music, gongs, bells, noisemakers, fingers, cymbals, chimes, flutes, and parts of thumb pianos. For royal regalia and prestige goods, double gongs, symbolically decorated iron staves, long pipes, ceremonial hammers, anvils, axes, and spears. For currency and bride's wealth, iron bars, iron holes, hoe blades, and weapon rendered in symbolic shapes. For initiation ceremonies, circumcision knife. For private and public lighting samples and complex lamps. For locator bells for dogs, cows, and children, for the iron catchy sexes. Some of these objects were also used in religious ritual, and of course, the blacksmith repaired most of these objects. All right. However, it is the production of major implements of farming, hunting, and warfare that made the iron worker an indispensable and respected member of society. It is this economic power, along with the awesome magical power that enabled him to transform ore to metal, that was responsible for the frequency, ambivalent social and political status of iron workers in sub-Saharan Africa society. And then I'm going to go over the rise of iron metallurgy provided a powerful stimulus for the rise of social differentiation because of the specialization of labor that it frequently entails. Hunting and gathering and even simple horticulture do not require the relatively complex levels of organization of skilled and unskilled labor often needed for iron working, particularly iron smelting. While some societies or ethnic groups did not practice iron working or smelted but did not smith or smelted but did not smelt. While some societies or ethnic groups did not practice iron working or smelted but did not smith or smelted or smiths but did not smelt, such as pastoralists and forgers of southern Africa. And I'm going to skip a little bit. I might just stop there. I'm going to stop there because I want to emphasize something right there. I said before how I believe that I know that they had the use of iron to carve into rock. They used iron to carve into the rocks what you see where the Grand Canyon's at, and made great monuments here in America, as well as what you see the cliff dwellings over with the Anasazi. They had those iron tools to carve and cut in those rocks. They didn't use no copper tools. They used iron, and they had the concept of metallurgy, even in so-called Africa. Remember, I read to you about Thor went to the little dwarf to get his hammer made, specially made. You go back to the little people. You go to those little Twa type people, the little short Negroes in Africa, who are noted to they're making iron right here. And this is talking about sub-Saharan Africa, but this is done globally. When I'm trying to connect the points, I'm connecting all the dots, is that the idea of black folks making iron, and this is just so-called Africa right here. I have one that talks about iron making in America somewhere around here. But my main emphasis is that the concept of smelting iron, like you see, there was iron found in some of those mounds in ancient America. They used iron to, like I said, to cut and to carve. And iron was found not only there, but iron you find over in Africa. And they was able to smelt iron in all different regions of the world. To sit up there, like I said, smelting iron is no simple technology. It takes skill. It takes time and it takes skill. And for us to believe or listen to these white anthropologists and just say that they use copper tools is a goddamn lie. They had iron. Alright. Let me read this real quick. And I'm not going to go too long with this one. This little quick part about the iron right here, because I want to read this whole thing. Let's see, he talks right here. After making the pit nice, you first put ash so that if you put fire, it does not go out. You take ash from another cooking place, like where they cook from. You get it, bring it, and you put it there. You put a little just to cover the pit and under the tuyuri to safeguard the tuyuri so that it doesn't fall. You spread it out properly so that it does not protrude to the bottom of the pit. The ash is put there so that the earth doesn't rise to put out the fire. Then he brings the dried reeds. You get a bundle, break it into pieces. Then you put it in like this and this and this. Demonstrate crossing layers of reeds, yes, so that the charcoal does not go through. If it's brought one bunch, he put it out there. He never added more. When he set it out, he estimated that what was enough to cover the pit and be able to protect the charcoal. When the fire lit the dry reeds, the reeds lit the charcoal, which lit the ore. The charcoal is put on the dried reeds. You put the charcoal so that the ore does not go through the charcoal. Then they pour the ore there. The water in the small pit next to the furnace pit. It is common in forges. Is a lot of water. It is not something to play about. They prepare that pit and put water, and then they put in the glass sprinkler. The sprinkler is so big. It is the ore for dipping in the water and then sprinkling so that the dust does not rise and get to the people. It also helps the charcoal not to burn very fast, so that it all does not get finished very fast. It also helps very much so people don't sweat a lot. For the ore, the one whose bellowing works so hard, when the ore got fire, when it is ready, it would then slowly pour off. Then there will be a song. After he smelts, he gets his iron and leaves the sag there, and he goes. Now, I'm not going to go talk about full detail how they really go and really make the iron, but what I'm trying to emphasize is that the fact that the concept of smelting iron, and like I said before, they had furnaces in many of these mounds in America, and they smelted iron over in America, here in America, is that they used that iron, like I'm emphasizing this again, to carve into rock. Not copper. They used that iron to carve into natural rock. And this is just the book talking about African metallurgy. And he mainly talking about so-called sub-Saharan Africa, which is a bunch of BS. But this is the concept of smelting iron is something that black folks was doing globally. Especially more as you started to advance in civilization with iron. You use iron not only for weapon tools, but you also use iron to carve out and to design. And this is just a quick video that I want to talk about, because a lot of people start wondering, well, how did the ancients? They were simple. They didn't know what type of tools that they use. One of the tools I can say that they use a form of iron to basically carve into various different structures. They use no copper tools. All right, they use iron, and this is something that we got to continue to study, because the information is there. I didn't want to just sit there and just read you the whole book. This situation, what did they do here? But it talks about iron, different tools that were made here in this book, different types of tools. But this is ancient African metallurgy. Like I said, I have several books on this talking about the making of iron. And I also remember I told you about the Vikings, how Thor went to the little dwarf man to make his hammer. All right, the blacksmith went to the blacksmith to make his hammer. All right, so he went to the man to make his little massive, strong hammer. And that metallurgy technology is something that so-called black folks was doing globally. All right, so I just want to emphasize that and to say that in this video. I'm going to try to do another one, another quick video, but I just want to throw this one out there. It's called metallurgy or iron making. All right, peace. Bye.